All right, here we're going to talk about black magic, okay? And how people say that, because I've watched videos now where there's, and here's the thing though, I know the algorithm caters to what you've been doing, and the algorithm is like your bitch. And that's why I said technology is feminine energy. So when you want to know the whole concept of evil, the same way man was created in the image of God is for you to know that you're experiencing the world through man, but not to forget that you are God. Okay? And this happens on a light level. When a child is born, it is born as God, but it forgets it's God because it's guided and it's absorbing the reality that its outside world is influencing it. Because the child is not really thinking for itself. All right? So the child is just basically absorbing its environment. All right? That's why the Jesuits said, give me a child from the age of 1 to 7 and I'll show you who the man is. So you have the child getting programmed. Okay? When you look at man, okay? Man in the world, okay? You become a man, you eventually find a woman, and you marry her, and you have a family, okay? You think that because you left your parents' house that you are now a man. But in actuality, you left your parents' house, which is you're being under their order, the authority of your parents, which are God, to now follow the religious order and the governmental order. But you depend on government. The government, okay, takes care of people, okay, supposedly, allegedly. And then above that, it's ran by the religious order. So it keeps you in a religious mindset. And when you're in a religious mindset, you're taught to serve society. And you serve society in what way? Are you serving society because you've served yourself first and you became self-aware? Or are you just programmed to think that you serving society is you going to work every day and then providing for your family because you are the man of the house? You're the man of that house, all right? But it's grounded out of feminine energy. You're still not the man of the house. The same way when you go out in the world, you think you're a man, but you're not. Because you are actually part of humanity. And unless you became aware and woke up to the game or from the game, whichever one you want to fucking see it from, then you become the one. You're looking at the world through the eyes of God, and you are actually observing humanity now. You're not looking at yourself as part of humanity. You're in the world, but you're not of it. You realize this. You're not told this. And when you start to look at it like this, you'll even start to know that when somebody says that they're religious, it's not because they're into one religion, Christianity or Buddhist or whatever it may be. Okay? You're into all religions. And when you look at all religions, okay, you'll start to know that you can create your own religion the same way you could create your own economy. That's how much power you have. And when you create your own religion, you'll realize that the real church is your body. Okay? And you don't pollute the environment with cigarettes and alcohol or with negative thought patterns or things that aren't serving you. Because when you're born again of the Father, okay, being born again of the Father, you would have to have your feminine nature intact. And that's under dominion and control. So when they say that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, but man has dominion over the rest of the animal kingdom, you have dominion over your animal kingdom, which is the root chakra. And when that's intact, your evil natures, everybody has their dark aspects of themselves. That's why when you look at reality, you see and categorize things as bad and good, because those are mirror aspects of yourself. And when you start to point finger at the one that triggers you the most, that's the one that's the blessing in disguise. That's the one you could look at and say, I need to work on myself. Why am I triggered by this one? Right? There's people who are absolutely so triggered by pedophiles, and for some reason, I'm not, right? But I'm triggered by other things. You get what I'm saying? I'm triggered by other things, but that's aspects of myself. I'm wise enough now to not point fingers at that because that's me. It's me. So now, why is it that when you do black magic, some people tend to say I was in fear and I was in such a dark place and then they said that they were saved by Christ, right? But they think that they were saved by Christ. They were never saved by Christ, right? They were never saved by Christ. The light that was shown was still an aspect of themselves, but because they never changed their religious programming, they went toward that light and started to go back into the worshiping aspect of that, because they were worshiping whatever they were doing in the occult world of black magic. when you're not supposed to worship these things. You're supposed to respect these things because they are a part or a mirror of you. So when you said you were in the darkest place and these demons were terrorizing you or tormenting you, it's because they were showing you what you are. This is why before you do black magic, it's so important to do shadow work. Because when you do shadow work, then you're knowing what the darkest, most evil aspects of yourself are. And what you do is you don't act them out in society because you're in a realm that you are the good guy and everything else is the bad guy. If you're doing it from that concept of bad and good for just for the sake of conversation, everything's evil. Evil means inverted, the illusion. It's not really you, but it is you. You're projecting your reality and it's reflecting back to you what you are. The same way that Jesus was not supposed to be anthropomorphized as a man, Jesus is an energy, it's a consciousness, okay, that reaches the upper realms for you to experience God. That's why they say it's the Son of God, okay? So when you look at your reality, even when I say when you look at the sun, you're looking at yourself, it's because you are the light of the world. But the sun lighting up the reality is only there because you're collapsing it into existence with your observation, with your perspective, Because the moment you open your eyes, the world came to light is because you did it. If you die or you cease to exist, like your eyes shut, nothing else exists. This is going into the quantum world, the quantum mechanics of things. So when you look at your reality, it ain't literal, right? You got to look at it symbolically. You're looking at yourself. So the same way I may see cats, birds, trees, people that trigger me or that I love, they're mirrors of myself. But it's not going to be taken literal. They're just mirrors of myself. It's like when you look at them in the mirror and somebody is standing behind you, but they don't know that it's a mirror in front of them. They're going to think that that's you until they look to the right and say, oh shit, wait a second. This is the real you. That was just a reflection of you, right? That's how you see your world. You see your world like a mirror, but the things that you're told or you're listening to, take them, they're symbols. But if you take it literal, that means consciously you're accepting something into your mind as a program, and your subconscious mind now will act it out in the way that it was meant by the people in power, because you gave your power away for you to act it out. Okay? When in actuality, the people in power that you see that are in power are also a mirror aspect of you. They're a manifestation of your ego trying to maintain order and control, because the ego is the feminine energy. That's why the ego is so emotional, wants to maintain control. Look at the way women are now. Women are acting this out by saying they want to be equal to the man when they cannot be equal. You're supposed to, first of all, they're a complement to man. But the reason they're a complement to man is because the same way out of darkness comes light, the light is needed to actually protect the woman here in this world. Because physically men are stronger, but metaphysically, women tend to have a little bit more of that authority over the men metaphysically. But it's not to say that it's just, that's what the balance is though. Okay? I mean, you have the moon and you have the sun. The moon reflects when it's hit by the sunlight. Okay? That's how you get light. There's no light source to the moon. Okay? And it's funny because there's so many mysteries, because I've looked up at the moon and it almost looks like it's transparent. Right? Transparent. How transparent are you with your kids? Right? You look at transgenders, you're a parent, but you look at the word transparent. You're a parent, but are you transparent? Okay? And the transparency comes in many, many different forms. Okay? Transparency is going to come through authenticity and proper guidance, but you're going to guide the child because the fact that you know yourself. This chemistry came directly from your information, your material. Okay? And this is God looking over the children of Christ. That's how they say God looks over people. God guides you. God is my co-pilot, my driver. I'm the co-pilot. You see all these things in the fucking in the rear bumpers of certain people, But if you look at it, your parents are God. They are one, right? Like in the metaphysical, there's no genders, right? It's androgynous. Technically, when that marriage is happening and they're mixing the waters and they're having sex, there's a chemistry happening and an energy that in physical realm, what can equate to that kind of energy that you would feel through an orgasm? Something so orgasmic, such a feeling. Especially when you truly love this individual because you found the love of your life, because you found it within yourself first, because you attracted this love. You see, you're not even supposed to look for a partner. The partner comes to you when you're ready. The same way the guru appears when the student is ready. But know that that guru is you. There's nobody to worship outside of you. So what are you going to do? You're going to worship your woman? The woman comes into your life when you are ready. But there's people who are chasing a relationship, and that's why they never find one. Because they're chasing. And that's truly a sign of not knowing yourself. Because when you know yourself and you're complete within yourself, by the law of attraction, that completion physically will manifest into your life because you've completed yourself metaphysically. The same way where you're not chasing money, if you're doing something of passion and something you love so much because you're working on your projects from your heart's desire. Projects is a projection, right? Because you projected something first. And then you work on your projects. What happens? The money follows. You're not chasing money. Money just happens to fall into your lap. Because in that realm, since you're doing something and you feel so abundant where space and time doesn't even exist and money isn't even a thing because you're working from a space of love, then money just follows. Because money is neutral. But money is a symbol of power and abundance. And because you feel so empowered doing what you're doing, that symbol follows. When you're intact in your feminine energy, that symbol follows. You'll see a lot of people online projecting like they got the perfect life, but they don't. And YouTube and Instagram, they don't have it like that. They put that on camera and they make you think that that's how they live their life. But behind closed doors, they're living a miserable life. You know what I'm saying? They're just settling for whatever it may be. Now, when you do magic of any kind and you're doing black magic is nothing but the negative side of the force. But that negative energy is the magnetic, the attractive side of things. Okay? So when you're able to do magic overall, okay, you're whatever negative entities you claim to have, they're going to serve you and work for you. Because the same way you've already worked within yourself to integrate these things, not demonize them. Because if let's say, for example, you got triggers, okay, and you got things that are traumas to you and you haven't worked through them, then what's happening is that you're only in that space because you deem what's outside of you bigger and more important to what they think of that situation than you do. When in actuality, if you accept that part of yourself wholeheartedly and unconditionally from the heart space for real, that means you've integrated it. And because you've accepted it, what you thought they've demonized and didn't accept, believe it or not, you'll be and find the creative ways to put it out in the world where it's going to serve others and everybody will accept it because you accepted it first. So in other words, the world will see you how you see yourself first. So when you look at, for example, you're doing work with certain deities or whatnot, these deities are going to express aspects and versions of what you are and what your capabilities are. And you'll fear it. Okay? The same way you'll be triggered by something outside of you in the physical realm, that's all stemmed out of fear. The reason you want to fight and break, it's because you have fear in you. Because somebody who doesn't have fear, why the fuck would you actually try to jump and attack anything? The fearful animals are the ones that bark and want to attack the most. So in physicality, the things that trigger you stem out of fear. And metaphysically, it'll be just directly fear. You'll just fear it. And they will play tricks on you because that's just the type of person you are. If you're the type of person that will cheat on your partner and you, as many times as you say you won't, but you're presented with the opportunities, you may do it and find a way to justify it in your mind, then you'll attract that happening to you in the same way where you say the demons deceived me and this negative entity was playing games with me and it did this and it made me make a deal and whatever it may, I've heard so many things online. They're all aspects of yourself. You haven't embraced that God aspect of yourself. So all you're doing is expressing your weak sheep-minded fucking expression and it's going to show you back in return what you are. A fucking liar, a deceiver, and a fucking person who likes to terrorize. Because you're in fear. When you express and lash out, you're trying to make the other person fearful of you. You're trying to intimidate that individual. And then, what is that coming from? Fear. Dark Knight Rises. So in a nutshell, when it comes to black magic, the most important thing here is doing shadow work and knowing yourself first. And because something is fearful, I mean, I would examine that more. The same way that I said that if something is triggering to you, you might want to work on that first, right? And when people say surrender to yourself, think about this though. If you're in feminine energy, right? And you are taking action in a masculine act and you don't submit to yourself, then you stay in feminine energy. But if you submit to yourself, that's you now becoming the man because you submitted to yourself. You are what you eat. Now, that's the important part about expressing the masculine energy accordingly here in this realm. The masculine energy is not going to work 9 to 5s or providing and being a fucking hardworking slave. Because slavery is another topic I'm going to be talking about in another video. Because people, I've heard Jesse Lee Peterson talk about, do you believe in slavery? Slavery is an idea, right? Now, I've also talked about the quantum mechanic of things. Do you know if reality existed before you were born? Do you know that? Were you ever born in your dream? Do you ever die in your dream? You're here in this realm. If you've had deep enough experiences, you'll start to notice that this actually feels almost like a dream. And when you do things accordingly, according to the laws of nature, or you're doing some form of magic to actually favor an outcome for you. I mean, how did it start, right? It started with the proper mindset. The mind is all, the universe is mental. When you're in a dream, things just manifest. There's no space and time. Who's in control of your time here? Because if you can stay laser focused on something, then you don't fall for the obstacles or distractions of the illusion. If you do, then you're at the mercy of whatever distracted you. And that technically is what's in control of you, of your time. And what's in control of your time is in control of your heart. Notice when you clock in for work and time goes very slow, you're bored out of your ass, right? But your heart is connected to time. If you're having a good time, time somehow feels like it's flying, right? Like it speeds up. But a lot of people say they want certain things, but they don't want it. Which is why sometimes it just doesn't happen. Because as much as they say they want it, they truly don't want it. Because if they truly wanted it, their life would change in an instant, even in a quantum leap. But sometimes it requires a trauma for that to happen. And I'm talking about from things that I've experienced and even experienced. So these are from, experience itself, myself. Procrastination, laziness, where does that come from? Where does all that shit come from? I'm going to make another video on that. Because I wanted to keep this video on the black magic part. And the evils, the negative entities, you see a lot. And Christianity is booming big time now. All of a sudden, you're starting to see a lot of videos pop up saying, I'm an ex-occultist saved by Christ. And they'll even title it that. So it's not even hard to find. Right? But it's all coming from you. It's all you. Technology is a feminine energy. That's what technology is. Because technology was created in the image of man. The same way man was created in the image of Christ. That's what I was going to say in the other video and I forgot. But the fact that you came into the world as God and then you became man and forgot your God, this is where the inversion happens. People depend on technology, so much so that they merge with technology. That's really literally what merging with AI is. You merge with feminine energy. Now you're going to have a president who potentially could be a female, and this is where you know the world will go to shit. Because this is not what the order of chemistry is supposed to be. And it has nothing to do with gender. It has nothing to do with gender. And think about this, the people in power, okay, supposedly can say that under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all, right? They got their feminine energy in the form of black magic intact. This is why they have power over you. They only teach you about the good side of things. But if you don't have the black negative side of things intact, then you're just controlled through the lights, okay? Lucifer would be what's in front of you. Right? Satan is behind you. Satan, get behind me. The light bearer. Jesus and Christ and Lucifer is the same shit. Except the one is from the negative side of things. The other one's from the positive side of things. I'll get more into it because there's a lot more I can tie into, but I made 2 videos back to back, and I want to make sure it doesn't get extremely long, and I don't want to get too crazy going into different topics in many different aspects. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to make videos on the slavery part, the abortion. I'm still going to make a video on that. And, you know, like, share, subscribe. We'll talk soon.